This meeting is being recorded.
What's going on, y'all? This your boy, Chris Simmons, coming to you with another podcast episode, with another special episode with returning guest, transformational coach, you already know, from Puerto Rico. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss Sandra Cruz. What's going on with you, girl? How you doing?
What's going on, Chris? Thanks for having me once again. I always love coming on here. We have such good topics and conversations that I never say no.
Of course, of course, of course. Yes, yes. It's been, I think, this is your fourth time. I think it's your fourth time on my show, right? Fourth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fourth time runner. Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, man, that call we had with Miss Denise Taylor, man, it made a whole big difference, man, because I would have never known you unless I jumped on that call. So, I always tend to think
Yeah.
about that, man, how we got put in that breakout room, and here we are doing podcasts together. Who would have ever thought we'd be doing podcasts together for real?
I would never thought it. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I'm blessed. It's just a blessing. It's a blessing. We're
Yeah,
having conversations that need to be had.
exactly. And we were just having one before the show, so we got on the call around 2. And well, 2 my time, 3 her time, because she in Puerto Rico, so she on a different time zone. But I was telling her about something that happened to me last night, which I'll get into. Open up the show with that because it goes in with our topic, healthy mindset. And I was telling her about everything that was going down, and then honestly, obviously, she responded back, and then she went a little deep with it. She kind of talked about her own, basically her own stories and stuff like that relating to things that happen in her family and people that she know. So we talked a lot about different mental health disorders before the show. We got really deep in the conversation, but it started because of an incident that happened to me last night. And I'll go ahead and kick off the show with this because I feel like this will transition into what we want to talk about, which is having that healthy mindset. Um, so last night, man, it was crazy, man. So like I told y'all, man, I'm up here in Kent State. I'm in an apartment. I live with 3 other people, so it's a total of 4 of us, man. And 3 of us, for the most part, so me and my two of my roommates, who are both black, we all brothers. We are all I call my brothers. We get along for the most part. We get along, really, really well. Share some similar views, politically, socially, all these things. But there's one roommate that we have, you know, who doesn't see eye to eye with us. But and we kind of had this feeling, we kind of had this feeling because, the 3 of us, we would be in the kitchen talking, and he would come in, he would say, "What's up?" Straight to his room, wouldn't say nothing. And we realized that he wasn't really like trying to hang out or do anything with us. And we're like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's fine. Like, you know, you were a random roommate. I understand that, we didn't really know you coming in when we signed the lease because we originally wanted to have 3 people move into the room. So I got 2 out of the 3. One of the dudes who I wanted to move in, unfortunately, like he didn't want to come back just yet. So that's how we got this random roommate. Um, so yeah, so for the most part, like I said, 3 of us we get along, and then the other one he don't really mess with us for real. And we were kind of having this feeling. We're like, yo, like, does this dude like even mess with us? We're just like, oh, maybe he don't, and that's okay. And we would just move. We would just go about our business. So last night, you know, I was in a deep sleep. We were all sleeping, and we hear this man screaming, bro. He I don't know what he was saying. He was laughing. He had like friends in the kitchen. They was talking loud. And we're just like, bro, what's going on? And we all had this like group chat amongst us, just the 3 of us. We left him out. And we were like, yo, like, what's that noise? And we're like, no, that's our roommate. He's making some noise late at night. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he just, has some friends over for right now. Maybe they'll end up leaving here real soon. And all of a sudden, this is what got me out of my bed, is when he was like, when our roommate was like, why can't they hear me? I'm like, what you talking about? So I get up out my bed, I walk in the kitchen. I'm like, bro, what's going on, man? What's going on? And he had 2 friends in there, and they're like, oh, we were just being with him right now because apparently our roommate got out the ER for something that went on with him. I don't really know the full details, but it was something that had happened to him. So he was in the ER for over a week, and apparently he just got out, and his two friends were there supporting him. He was like, yeah, he just, is dealing with a lot right now. Just got out the ER, is he's a little drunk. He was very drunk. Dude was very, very drunk. And he was like, hey man, so I just, I just got out the ER, I'm dealing with some anxiety right now. And he's like, yo, I wanna just, just kind of tell you something, man. I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, man, I've been hearing things y'all been saying. I'm like, is that right? He's like, yeah, man. I don't agree with your political views. I don't agree with this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he was just going back and forth. He was yelling he was screaming. I'm like, bro, like, what's up, man? Like, you gonna really, you know, have this conversation now at like 1 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, we've been living with you for 6-7 months. And he was talking about, oh yeah, my anxiety, it's been building up, and all of a sudden, I just couldn't take it no more. And I just don't agree. I just, didn't like some of the things you were saying, and yada yada yada. And and then me and him were going at it. And then the two other roommates that I had, they came out their rooms. We were trying to talk to this man. But man, it was just crazy, like how it had to go down like that. And I understand, like when you live in this world, you have to learn how to be able to be okay with people not agreeing with you. And I think that was the whole point of why he went at us, is because we would say stuff that he didn't agree with, but he never said anything. Like he would be hearing us talk about this stuff, but never ever said anything. And apparently what we were saying was giving him anxiety, and he let it build up to the point where he just exploded on us that night. And I'm like, bro, you had 6 months for you to come out and be able to talk to us man to man. You didn't have to go about it like this. You didn't have to make a scene to where you screaming at the top of your lungs at 1 o'clock in the morning, waking us up and having us come down. And then the part that really got me was when he was like, yo, did you guys not know I was in the ER? He's like, why didn't you guys check on me? I'm like, bro, because we didn't know. How are we supposed to know if you don't communicate that with us? See, there's the thing. If you want somebody to be there and support you, you have to open your mouth and let people know what's going on. Like I'd be willing to help you if I knew, but because you gave us those stranger vibes, we never knew what you're really going through, man. You know what I'm saying? So it was just crazy, like how all that transpired and how it took him getting drunk to be able to finally come out and say some stuff. And see, one thing I want y'all to understand, having a healthy mindset is being able to express your feelings respectfully, and also when you feel in the moment that something is off, right? Because a lot of people, what they do, and this is why a lot of people tend to have anxiety, they tend to have depression, is they hold on to those feelings for so long that when it gets too much, it explodes. It's just like when you pump air into a balloon, that balloon can only hold so much air before it pops. So my suggestion to y'all, if y'all feeling some type of way and something is not right, and you're feeling and something that you're going through right now is hindering you from going down the path, or is hindering your mental health, you have to be the one to speak up right then and there. Don't hold on to your feelings thinking somebody is going to understand what's going on. People can't read your mind. Understand, people can't read your mind. So if you have a disagreement with somebody, if something somebody said to you is not vibing with you, is not sitting well with you, you got to be the man, and you got to speak up for what you believe in. You got to be the man, and you got to do it in a respectful way. Don't be afraid to confront people, if you're not feeling like what they're saying is in line with what you're saying. So that's my thing, that's about having that healthy mindset. Sometimes you just gotta let stuff go. What I'm saying? Sometimes people have a hard time letting things go. I'm gonna be real with
Mhm.
you. This life, people just gonna continue to move on. And you got to do the same. You can't let something somebody said about you, something somebody said that don't agree with you, you can't let that stop you from going out and achieving what you need to achieve. Think about the people, think about the 1%. Think about the celebrities you watch on TV. Think about the athletes you watch. You don't think they get those you don't think they get those criticisms? You don't think people talking smack about them? But why are they
Yeah.
still able to go out and perform at a high level? Is because they understand that they have to see themselves as valuable. They can't let all that noise get in their head, because that's what people do. People gonna talk about you no matter what. And if you want to be at that 1%, you got to be ready to get talked about. If you're not ready to get talked about, then you're just gonna be average.
Mhm.
Because people don't pay attention to average people. People don't. People only talk about people that's doing something. And people will always try to tear you down. So
Mhm.
you got to learn how to just, some of the things that people say, you can't let that bother you. Some of the, I mean, I know that one of the issues that we had that he brought up last night was our political views. Bro, this whole world is divided. You got people who believe
Mhm.
Democrat, you got people who believe Republic. And it's so crazy, like how we let those things divide us in this world, and we get so
Yeah.
caught up in oh, he's a Republican, oh, I can't be friends, oh, he's a Democrat, I can't be friends.
So weird.
Come on now, like this, you know what I'm saying? You people,
I find it so
people
weird.
gotta
I'm
learn
like, huh?
exactly.
Yeah.
You just have to learn how to disagree, agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, you,
You, you know, Chris, sorry to interrupt you, but you made a real key point there too. You said valuable. I love how you said valuable. I even wrote it down because of the simple fact that if you don't feel like you have any value by yourself, you're constantly going to be looking for external resources to give you that value. And so, with the whole situation that you had, it seemed like your roommate was looking for external value. And unfortunately, unless you give yourself that value, you won't be able to be okay with other people having a different opinion.
hmm,
It affects big time. And that's when depression sets in. That's when anxiety sets in. Apart from the scientific that we know where your serotonin and your norepinephrine are depleting or they are not generating as they should be. But valuable, it's a big key. If you don't find yourself valuable, it's going to be hard for you to actually speak up. It's going to be hard for you to actually walk in your purpose. And walking in your purpose means being who you are on purpose, saying, Chris, this bothers me. Sandra, this bothers me. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have those skills going through life. I know for me growing up, I never had that skill. So I would just, everything was, I would take it in, take it in, take it in, but it would never come out. And that's when you start to have issues. And I went to therapy. I'm proud to say I went to therapy, man. I got the help that I needed because I needed it. I knew something wasn't right. So I think it's important that people know if you don't value yourself and really love who you are, and loving yourself doesn't mean you look in the mirror and go, I'm looking good today. These glasses are great. Absolutely not. It means really holding yourself to a standard and saying, I'm doing this because I want to be a better me tomorrow and today. Forget tomorrow, today. And so when you start feeling that value for yourself, you become more open to the world and you're not looking for those external responses or looking for anyone to say, it's okay, you're accepted, because you know who you are, you know where you stand, and you've got nothing but love for yourself and for your brother and sister who are standing beside you, because we're all one.
it's it's so crazy how everything aligns, how everything that God does, it kind of aligns with what he's trying to say to me. After that incident, I obviously attended, well, today's Saturday. I know people attend church on Sunday, but I watched like this Saturday morning service.
I go on Saturday.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm talking about. See, I started doing that in 2020. Because I know like a motivational speaker I watch, his name is Eric Thomas. He does like Saturday morning services live on like Facebook. And
Oh, cool.
and I attended today. And it's crazy like how today's sermon, even with the Bible verse of the day, kind of aligns with what God was trying to tell me, like, was trying to tell me to like basically like clear my mind. First of all, I'll just start with the verse of the day. It's so crazy how the verse of the day is from Proverbs 29:25, and it talks about how the fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. Come on, let me say it again. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. So to kind of translate it, fearing people is dangerous. Come on, somebody. Fearing people is dangerous. Some of y'all scared of people. Stop being scared. The Bible tells you, stop fearing people. Come on, somebody. I got a word today. Listen, I'm hyped up today, man. I'm trying to help y'all understand. Stop fearing people. Yep. Trust in the Lord. Stop fearing people. See, a lot of us, we walk around, we scared of people. That's why I walk around with the type of attitude to where when I go out, I know that I'm going to be good because I'm in the Lord's hands. The Lord created me. Proverbs, and there's another verse I want to reference. Proverbs Songs 139, verse 14 says, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Actually, let's go back to verse 13. For you formed my inward parts. So this is God. God is telling you, for he formed your inner parts. He knitted you together in your mother's womb. For you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Come on, somebody. See, somebody needs that confidence.
You're like nobody else. He made you in his image, and you're like nobody else.
So let me summarize. So let me summarize those two verses that I said. So to kind of put it all in summary, if you are fearfully and wonderfully made and you have been set apart, why are you afraid of other people? Why are you afraid of what other people have to say about you? God created you who you were supposed to be. He didn't create you the way you were on accident. There is no such thing as an accident. Don't ever let your mama tell you that you're accident. Don't ever let your daddy tell you that you're accident. You have to believe that you are fearfully, wonderfully made. So that means you don't have to be scared of no man. You don't have to be scared of what no man tell you. You don't have to be scared of what your mama tell you, what your daddy tell you, what your sister tell you. You don't have to be scared of none of that. Because you know why? Because you have a unique purpose. And I'm trying to help you out today because I want y'all to see this for yourself. Until you see it for yourself, it's not going to come. It's not going to be effective. It's not going to be effective if you don't believe that you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. See, a lot of us, we don't believe that because of what other people say. We get so caught up on social media, what social media got to say about us. We get so caught up in what the likes have to say about us, what the followers got to say about us. But yet again, we're not looking at ourselves and being able to determine that we have already been created to do many great things. So my point is, you don't have to worry about what other people got to say about you. You don't have to let what people say get to you so bad to where you already don't have a clear vision for yourself. See, sometimes you need to block out the noise, block out the toxins. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to always agree with what people say. You have your own voice. Use it. Stop trying to let people speak for you. Stop trying to let what people say. People gonna say what they want to say. Here's the truth. You can't control what other people say, but you can control what you say. Let me say that again. You can't control what you say. You can't control what other people say, but you can control what you say. So just because somebody's talking about something that's not sitting well with you or that's around you, don't mean that you have to emulate what they say. You have your own mind. Use it. You have a filter in your mind. Use it. And I'm sorry, you live in the world. You live in the real world. You can't escape reality. You can't do it. You can't escape people from talking about you. That's why in another verse in Ephesians 6:11 says, for you got to put on the whole armor of God. Why? Because you're going to war out here.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that you go after, you're gonna receive some resistance. You're gonna receive resistance. But you know what resistance does? It builds your muscle. It builds your muscle. Because when you lift weights, it's building that muscle. So when you face resistance out here in the world, it's building your muscle. But the only way it defeats you is if you let it defeat you.
Exactly. It's a mindset. It's a mindset process. And so how do we combine the spiritual piece? Because spirituality, like I was reading this week in Untethered Soul, spirituality is when you become to a higher height, you become enlightened. So how do you take your spirituality, take it to a newer height so that you can have that clarity, so that you can go for it? So you mix the two. I know I've learned to mix the two. I know I meditate and I sit and I pray and I read. I have my devotional and stuff like that. But I also clear my mind. I also ask for clarity, because if you don't have clarity, then we're gonna go back to what you were talking about. That resistance is gonna knock you down. So you need to come in and you need to have some clarity. And how can you have clarity when you have all these voices in your brain telling you how you're not good, how nobody likes you, how all this other stuff, how you're not. One of my coaches called it the little itty bitty crappy committee. Not to say I'm trying to stop cursing, folks. She said it. You have this committee in here telling you things, and it's off of what you said. Social media, people, people who may not have the same view as you do, and you take it as a threat. Oh. But where do you come with the two? You know, where do you work on this? How do you work on this? Where do you come and say, okay, I need to get clear. What is it that I want from life? Do I want to continue this? Do I want to be in this facet of hating myself and trying to live in this world, or trying to go forward clear in my purpose? Because like you said, these are some trying times and it's only going to get worse. So, I mean, how do we bring the two together to think clearly and be mentally healthy? You know, how do you start that process? A lot of people are so confused on how to start that process. And it's not a process where you end it one day and go, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need anything else. I'm okay. I'm constantly working. I'm not perfect. I am not perfect by any means. I'm constantly working on myself and striving to be the best me every single day so that I can understand folks. So that situations like the one that arose for you and situations that have arisen for me, I can think with clarity. I can think, okay, this person has another view on life. Let me calm down. Let me try to understand this person. Let me deal with this gracefully. Let me deal with this with purpose and try to make amends and try to walk forward and build healthy relationships with boundaries and healthy boundaries. But a lot of people get confused. Like you said, they get confused. You know where they get confused in? Well, they think that life is all about the likes on social media. They think that it's all about how much can I show off so people can like me. When all that comes with is just, that's an empty feeling. Because at the end of the day, when you turn this thing off, when you turn the phone off, when you turn your social media off and you're by yourself, none of what those people have said, done, or do is going to matter. What's going to matter is what you say, what you do, and how you react, and what your mindset is like.
Well, here's one thing I will say. This is a point I will make, and I know some of y'all might be like, well, how do we, develop this mindset where we can think clearly and where we can, be able to have that sound mind to where we can, see the vision that we have for life. First of all, your physical habits and your mental habits have a strong correlation. Come on, somebody. I'm gonna say it again. Your physical habits and your mental habits have a strong correlation. I use the big word. Now, I don't know if you guys have been through school and have been taught positive, negative, or no correlation. Correlation just simply means connection. So like I said, correlation means connection or a relationship between two or more things. That's what the correlation is. So having a strong correlation means basically having a strong connection. Come on, somebody. So when I say your physical and your mental habits have a strong correlation or a strong correlation or a strong correlation, what I'm saying is one is dependent on the other. And if one part is lacking, the other will suffer. So for example, if your mental, so if you think, oh, I can't do this. Oh man, I won't, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'll never be able to accomplish this. Guess what? Your physical habits are not going to align because your mental habits are telling you you can't do it. So your body is going to be like, oh no, I can't. I won't be able to climb that mountain. I won't be able to go to work, find a job, be able to start my own business, be this musician, because your mind is telling you you can't do it.
Do it.
And that's the problem. We don't talk highly of ourselves. We don't have enough confidence in ourselves to be able to think highly to where we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We don't have that mindset. How do you get, and you may be wondering, how do I get this mindset? Well, first of all, I need you to figure out, how do you talk to yourself? How like, if you were to describe yourself, how would you describe yourself? And see, if you can't answer that question, it's because you've been too busy watching other people live their life. Come on, somebody. If you can't tell me your stats and you can't tell me what's unique about you, it's because you've been too busy watching Netflix. You've been too busy watching Extra. You've been too busy watching Hollywood Access, because you looking at everybody else's life and you thinking that's supposed to be your life. That's why.
You know what it is? It turns into it's called self-sabotaging behavior. You hit it right on the nail, Chris. You hit it right there on that, like right there. Self-sabotaging behaviors. You know, when I became a mindset coach, they were like, well, you got to come up with a niche. I was like, what the heck? I was like, what is that? I was so like new to it. And you know what my niche is? My niche is, I am a mindset coach. I help women and men who struggle with confidence. And in 90 days, I help them move on from self-sabotaging behavior to walk into their purpose. So everything you say to yourself weighs on you. People don't think it does. But when you walk up and you said it, the first thing you need to do is get real with yourself and figure out, what is it that I'm saying to myself? And you know, I was reading, I keep mentioning the book Untethered Souls because it talks about clearing the clutter. Actually, I watched a podcast the other day by Dr. Phil, and he said, the first thing you need to do is clear the clutter in your brain. Because like you said, what's that famous saying? I think, therefore I am. So if you keep thinking you can't, you're going to physically stop and you're going to look for every opportunity that says I can't. Let me tell you, I was I went from I was working as a family support worker in Orlando, in Florida, and I was making $18,000 a year. That's nothing, bro. That's nothing. So I picked up a second job. They called me from making 18. I was going to be making I think 45,000. And you know what? You know what I said? No. Why? Fear. Fear held me back. So a lot of times people keep going, and fear is what holds them back from everything. Fear from everything. And that is a self-sabotaging behavior in itself. So how do we start? Like you said, how do we start? What am I saying to myself that's keeping me from getting there? And how do I get rid of that?
I'll speak for myself. So in case you guys need an example of specifically, how is it that some people can go throughout their day and have that confidence to be able to continue to move forward? First of all, for me, like I've told you guys before, when I wake up in the morning, I say my prayer. I already have that conversation with God starting off in the morning. Once I, get right with God, then I'm going to the gym. I'm taking care of my physical and mental health at the gym. Now, I recommend it. Some of y'all, man, y'all might need to invest in a gym membership, because I'm telling you right now that research shows that people who tend to do at least an hour of fitness activity are already going to develop positive, basically positive energy. And they're
Mhm.
already taking that step to taking care of their mental health, because what working out does is it can release those negative toxins in your brain, and it'll basically help you feel accomplished. That's what working out can do to you over time. Over time, when you work out, it'll make you feel like a better person. It'll be able to make you think clearly. It'll be able to make you feel like, you can walk into, let's say you can walk into a meeting, you'll be strong, you'll be confident. I'm speaking for me. This is what's helped me, going to the
Yeah.
gym every morning, reading a book, not spending, time watching TV, watching social media, being able to discover myself. One habit I picked up was yoga. Yoga is very good meditation, very good practice.
Oh,
Very good
yes.
practice that you can do to help meditate, because what yoga does is more about stretching. I do it for the stretching, but I also do it for the self-meditation, because what yoga is designed to do is designed to be able to figure out your inner self. See, some of us, we don't spend enough time with ourselves. See, sometimes people think being alone is like, oh, it's depressing. But no, it's not.
It's
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 not
amazing.
it's not depressing. It's very satisfying if you allow it to be satisfying. If you're
Right.
working on yourself in a moment and you're doing something that's improving yourself, reading a book, for example. I read a book. I read at least 5 to 10 pages of a book every day, because what reading a book does, it develops your intellectual skills. It allows you to be able to think. It allows you to be able to think for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So some of y'all need to develop better habits. Some of y'all probably waking up, watching the news. Nothing wrong with watching the news, but I'm just telling you right now, when you turn on that news, you already starting your day off in fear. And some of you guys don't even have a structure to your day. Some of you wake up and you're like, all right, well, it's just another day. Some of y'all ain't even excited to get out of bed. Because why? Because what you're doing is not exciting. Some of y'all wonder, like, why is my life not more than what it is because you're not operating in your gift. When I do this podcast, I'm operating in my gift. I love it. You have to be able to find what it is you love to do with your life. And because you haven't found it, the reason you probably haven't found it is, like I said, you're trying to copycat other people. You haven't activated that gift that God has already credited you, that God has already gifted you. So what I recommend, like I said, develop a routine, develop a healthy routine, and also be able to figure out, okay, what are some things that are, what are some characteristics about myself that make me unique? And don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to go out and try some things. Don't be afraid. I mean, because a lot of us, we're afraid to go out and try it. Sometimes, people don't really take advantage of the time that they got. They think it's just gonna come to them. They think they just sitting in their house thinking that, oh, maybe one day, my gift will come to me. No, you got to go out and experiment with it. Not everything you do is going to be like A+, but at least you try.
Exactly.
So that would be my suggestion. If you want more to life, you got to do more. Go out and try something.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I just wanted to interrupt you for a second there, because it's so true what you just finished saying. Some people are very afraid to move to kind of how can I say? They're afraid to take that step to do something. And I'm taking a course right now called Coaching Catalyst Clarity. And it's crazy because that's the same exact thing we were talking about this week. So we're supposed to come up with like this creative project. And the project is doing something that you would have never done before. And guess what mine is? This podcast. I never thought I would be here, but I took that chance, and I was nervous as all heck. I was nervous. Even I didn't even know, like you said, that networking with Denise was amazing. And I wasn't going to get on there because I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And you want to know what? I pushed myself. I said, oh no, we're going to do this. Stop it. I got on there. Here I am. And I'm talking to the world because anyone can listen to this. And that's amazing. So when you, and not only that, but when you start doing it once, you get so comfortable, it becomes a habit that you'll do it over and over and over and over again. I no longer fear taking those chances. I no longer fear meeting new people or fear getting out there because I made it a habit. They say after you do something 10 times, it becomes a habit, and a habit can be life-changing.
That's interesting how you brought that up, because I was actually talking to a lady last week about, it was a former lady. Her name was Jennifer Heisen. Like, if you're not familiar with who that is, go check out my podcast. I think the podcast was titled Beneath the Surface. It was like Underneath the Surface. And she shared her story and what she went through and everything like that. She talked for a good like hour and 30 minutes about her story. Very powerful story. Wow. But one thing I found out, after we record the show, she was like, Chris, like, I meant to tell you, I was actually nervous. But I think that was good because when she got on there, she discovered that, that fear that she had, was starting to become no more, because she decided to take that leap of faith. Yeah. She's also, and I also talked to her about, how she's been doing. We had a conversation last week as well. And we caught up, after the podcast. She was on my podcast back in January, but I had a follow-up call with her last week. And, she was telling me how she got invited to speak to like a group of women at a church. And how, awesome. But the thing is, she's very nervous. She's starting to second guess herself. And I just told her, I say, look, like, I feel like God is moving you into your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And see, sometimes what happens is when you start to operate in your purpose, your enemies will start to attack. Ooh, come on, somebody. I'm preaching a good word here. See, sometimes when you step into your purpose, your enemies will start to attack. Meaning, it don't have to be tangible. It don't have to be people you can see. It can be intangible up here.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you get called to do something bigger than yourself, what's going to happen? You're going to start to develop all these feelings and emotions. Because what that is, that's the enemy coming after you, because he don't want you to be able to see what's on the other side of that blessing. That's what's happening. So a lot of you guys, when you will know you're about to go into your purpose when you start feeling those attacks in your mind, when you start feeling attacks in your brain, because basically what that is that you about to go on a whole nother level. You about to go to a whole nother level in your life that your mind does not want to take you. I think, bro, that's crazy. I think my girl Sandra just froze for real. Man, that's tough. See, this is what we're talking about right here. We was having a great conversation and now she frozen. That's so crazy. Hopefully we can get her back real soon. Hopefully we get her back. But like I said, that's what we're talking about. See, I already know that the enemy does not want us to talk about this conversation right here, because we know we were about to help a lot of people out. But that's what happens. That's what happens in this conversation. That's what happens when you're doing these type of things out here in the world, is that sometimes this will happen. Hold on, I think we're getting her back. Sandra.
Yeah.
Bro, what happened?
I don't know. It just stopped. It just froze up on me. And I was waiting. I'm like, what the heck? I just saw you freeze up.
Oh my goodness. See, I was telling the people that's an example right there.
Yeah.
We were having a good conversation. All of a sudden,
And
you just freeze up like that.
I don't even know if it was my end. I don't know what it is because
No,
my
it
internet.
was definitely your end. So
You think it was my end? All right.
yeah, you froze.
I probably was. I live on an island. Pardon me. It happens. But it's a good example. Exactly. It's a small example, but it's an actually good example of what exactly you were saying. Sometimes, like you said, it's not tangible at all. People are not going to, you can't see it, but inside of you, you can feel it, the anxiety. I mean, come on now. I let go of a job, $40,000, just to go ahead and out of fear. And fear is useless. You can't use fear. Fear is nothing because fear is something that's created of the unknown. It's something that hasn't happened, might not happen. And so we fear it. Here we are fearing it. Like, oh well, I fear it. How do you know what's gonna happen? It's the same thing the other day. My friend said to me, we were watching the game against USA and Puerto Rico basketball game. Of course, I'm gonna root for Puerto Rico. He's like, oh, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know anything of the future because if we knew the future, then there would be no God and we wouldn't need a God, right? We'd be God ourselves. And that's not what it is. We don't know the future. We don't know what that moment can take us to. And just like Jennifer, you said her name was
Yeah, Jennifer Heisen.
Jennifer, her story, she feared, but she went ahead and pushed through. And then she realized like, oh my goodness, this is great. And like you said, it'll push you into walking into your purpose. And the first time you do it, after that, it's like, oh, that's all it was. I mean, it's the same time, like first time I went on a roller coaster. I was like, oh, that's all it is. Okay. Until I got sick. Then I can't go on them. But I got over the fear. Initially, you get over that fear. And when you make it a habit, you start doing it more often. It becomes a part of you. And so it becomes a path to clarity. And in order to walk in your purpose, you need that path of clarity.
Yeah, I can remember many times where I was scared of going on roller coasters. Like, I ain't gonna fake, because like I remember this one roller coaster at Cedar Point. We got like a little amusement park up here in Sandusky, and I remember they got like this roller coaster called the Top Thrill Dragster, one of the tallest in the world. It sits at 420 feet high and goes about 120 miles an hour. Anybody would probably be like, "Dang, man, that's crazy!" Like you seeing how high that boy is, you seeing how fast that boy go. You like, man,
Yeah.
You start shaking a little bit, man. But that was the thing. Like the first time I went, the first time I ever went to Cedar Point, I think I was like 9 or 10. When I saw that ride, I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I can do it. Plus the line was too long too. So I was like, it was like a 2-hour wait. But the second time we went, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on this ride. And I'm standing in line. And as I'm getting closer, I start feeling my stomach get weak. And I start my heart get racing. I'm like about to exit the line. And I'm just like, man, like, I don't know, man. I'm getting nervous. But like when I got on the ride, I was relieved. I was like, wow. I was like, that's so crazy. Like how I had so much fun on that ride. And how many of us miss out on those opportunities because we're so scared, to take risk. A lot of us are scared to take risk in our life. And that's why we miss out on opportunities. See, I wrote this in my book. So I wrote this in my book in chapter 1. If you get my book, I'm telling you, I got some great nuggets in there. And I talked about this experience, right? Right? And I said this one thing in the book. And I said, don't let your mind influence you to exit the line that will lead you towards the experience of a lifetime. Come on, somebody. I said, don't let your mind influence you to exit the line that will lead you to an experience of a lifetime. See, that's what our mind can do. Sometimes our mind, what we do, we already about to get close. We about to get close to the purpose. But unfortunately, our mind directs us to the exit. How many of
Mhm.
y'all, man, have been this close to reaching your purpose, but your mind decided it's too scary? See, that's why we miss out on fun things in our life, because we so scared. We live our life scared. You got to stop living scared, man. You got to just go out and be free. You only get so much time. You on a limited time. You get so much time in a day.
Yeah.
You might as well use it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you being this whole life is a risk. People think, oh, I'm sitting in my house, like I'm safe. No, you ain't. Somebody can come in there and break in, and you be,
Mhm.
what you gonna do? See, you can't play it safe every now and again. See, people who play it safe, I mean, it's just like playing the game on easy. Why you want to play the game on easy? It's too easy. You ain't getting nothing from it. You ain't getting yourself better. See, that's the thing. It's like, in sports, everybody wants to play with the best of the best. Why? Because the best, when you compete with somebody, when you play against somebody who's better than you, it makes you better. If you play somebody who you can dominate, what's the point? You ain't getting no better. So my thing
Right.
is, like, you want to be able to challenge yourself out here. Take some challenges, take some risks, stretch yourself. Don't let your mind, think otherwise, because you never know. Just because somebody says, oh, graduating from medical school, that's a 2% chance. But there's a chance, though. So
Yeah.
how do you know? Like, what if that was you? What if that was the
Right.
2%? You never know. There's always a chance in everything. See, until you stop thinking in probabilities, and you got to get over thinking in probabilities and start thinking in possibilities. See, a lot of us
Amen.
think, oh, when we hear, oh, only like 2-3% people make it, to the next level. But that's a possibility right there. That's a possibility that's saying that could be you. What if you were that 2-3% that graduated from medical school? What if you were that 2-3% that became a world famous Grammy Award singer? What if that was you?
Yeah.
But you would never know if you don't try,
Exactly.
because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You already
Absolutely.
have a greater chance of the ball going in when you shoot it versus when you don't. Did you know that? Somebody who shoots the ball is going to have a greater chance of it going in than somebody who doesn't.
Exactly.
So why are you holding on to the ball? Let go of the ball. Take some shots. Put some shots up. Come on, man. Come on, somebody. Put some shots up. Put some shots.
It's true.
Come on, Sanders.
It's
Put
true.
some shots up, girl.
Girl, you have no idea. I'm making all the shots right now I can. It's true what you say though, because you want to know what? If you holding the ball and you're not letting it go, then you'll never know. And the truth is, you just hold yourself back from possibly going in the direction that the Lord has for you, or even if you don't believe in the Lord, or if you don't, but the direction, if you want to believe in life, then hey, then what life has planned for you. But you will not get there. You'll never, like you said, you will never know. So, people say, well, what about if I try and I fail? So you failed. That doesn't mean that you're not a success. Most people, like some of our greatest people, failed at their inventions the first time. Some of the greatest inventors of our time, like electricity and everything, have had like severe learning disabilities and things of that nature, that well, when we read, we can tell. And they've had obstacles, and yet they put themselves forward and created great things, because there's a purpose and a path for everybody. But if you don't allow yourself to become more clear with yourself, and you don't start, like you said, start to, what am I saying to myself? What am I doing that's stopping me from going forward? And that's what happens. People get stuck. People get stuck and they don't go forward. How do I go forward? How do I not? And then, like you said, fear. Fear is the number one thing that holds people back, and it's senseless. What is fear? Fear is nothing. Fear of the unknown. You don't know, like you said, if you have the ball in your hand and you shoot the shoot, there's that possibility that's going to make it in. But if you don't, then you have zero possibility. So where, I asked myself, where are people right now? Like, are you holding the ball or are you shooting it? And that's the biggest thing right now. I know for me, I can tell you, for a long time, I held that ball for a long time. And for a long time, I held it in many ways, in things that I wanted to do for myself personally and thought wise. Listen, I kind of grew up in high school and in college. I didn't really love myself. I didn't know how to. I was, you know, by fear. I never did anything because of fear, And somebody said to me the other day, I've always wondered why you've never been able to make it. Come again? I looked at them and I said, listen, let me tell you something. I don't think the same way. I appreciate you, but I don't think the same way. Because even the smallest seed that I plant, I'm making it and I'm succeeding because I'm allowing myself to. And I'm pushing myself. And I'm shooting off that ball into the basket. So, people say, oh, well, you don't have success because you don't have a company or you're not making thousands and thousands of dollars a month or a year, millions. But that's not what it's about. It's about mentally being there. It's about getting clear and walking in your purpose and knowing that what you're doing it purposely without fear. And then when that happens, opportunities will arise. When is something that I can never tell. But I know that my opportunity will arise at one point or more. Had I not put myself out there, I would have never been here. Had I not put myself out there, I would have never became a mindset coach. I would have never started coaching people. I would have never done half of that. So when they tell me, oh, I've always wondered what? Why? Because you haven't seen what I've done. I went to school. I have 2 degrees. I have a master's degree. In my spare time, like you, I read when I can, when I'm not doing a million and other things for my business, but I put myself out there. And so small steps are success too. So, a lot of times people just don't see that. And they are so held down by this fear that cripples them. Literally. I have had people say to me, oh, but if you do that, and every time they talk to me, it's and I can, just when they talk to me, I see the excuses that mound up, the excuses, um, oh, well, I didn't go talk to somebody because they have all this trauma, all this. Oh, I didn't go talk to somebody because they couldn't give me something for tomorrow, or I didn't get the help that I needed because, well, I didn't have a car, or I didn't this, or I didn't that. And there's so many excuses that we make for ourselves out of fear. And we don't get real with each other. And that's the problem. And when you don't get real with yourself and you start living in this fantasy world of, well, let me choose externally to make myself feel good versus getting real with myself and sitting down in those moments, being by yourself. And what do I say to myself? What is stopping me? Who am I being at this moment? That's never going to work because you're always looking for something or someone else to cure that, what you're feeling. When in reality, you need to cure it yourself in order to give you that value. So you can say, you know what? I value myself no matter what it is I've done. Whether it's a 2-second phone call with somebody, whether it's speaking at an event, whether it's a podcast, whether it's going out there and just spreading the word and having these conversations with people and making a difference in someone's life without even it going unrecognized. That's a step in the right direction. And whatever it is you choose to do in this lifetime, or whatever it is you're going forward, but you're clear with yourself, you're understanding your purpose, you're understanding your value, and you say, man, let me tell you something. One of the most powerful things I did the other day, this brings to mind, I sat in the mirror and I said to myself, I love you. And I kept saying it. And I dare anybody listening to this, get in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you, and keep saying it until you feel it. Man, I broke down and I cried. It was so powerful and so moving because I was looking beyond me. I was looking at my mind. I was looking at my soul and the things. And there were so many things going on. Like, I love you, man. I love you. And you want to know something? I truly felt it. When I broke down and I cried, I felt it. I was like, holy, this is amazing. This is powerful because I am walking in my purpose. I'm a beautiful person inside and out. I fear nothing. It was the most uplifting thing I could have ever done.
All right now. Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Man, I think that's a great point to end on,
And
man.
people don't want to.
What?
Yeah, and I advise anybody else to do it. It's an amazing and an uplifting and an empowering habit.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful one.
Mhm. I think that's a great closing point right there. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love you. You know, I think that, you know, I know that sounds like simple, but I'm telling you, that self-talk, man, is important. You know, the way you talk to yourself is important. People don't realize that, man. Like the way you see yourself, you know what I'm saying, like will determine like how other people see you.
Yep.
You tell yourself that you ain't no good, then guess what? People gonna just believe that because you said it. You know, people be talking about, oh, you know, my hair is like this, you know, my face look like this, you know, blah, blah, this and that. I'm like, bro, sometimes when people say that to me, I'm just like, bro, I would have never noticed that until you said it. I would have never noticed that flaw about you till you said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever realize that? You think people looking at the same, some people thinking people looking at the same thing they looking at. I'm like, bro, I ain't looking at that. I would have never, ever noticed that about you if you didn't say it. But if you would have told me you was the flyest person on earth, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Females, I'm talking to females because females tend to do this more than dudes. Females always be talking about, oh, you know, should I change my hair? Should I get my lips bigger? You know, should I do this to myself? I'm like, bro, what's wrong with what you got right now? You've been blessed. God created you to be who you are for a reason. Why are you trying to go against the original design of who you've been made to be?
I love that.
So stop trying to go against the original design. Stop trying to modify yourself to fit into culture. Forget that. Just be yourself. Man, I was so fired up today, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Sometimes you got to use that pain that you feel. Sometimes that pain inside of you should help fuel some of the things that you want to go after in this life. See, I used that incident that I had. See, the reason I opened up with that incident early in the show is because I wanted to kind of, you know, set the foundation for what I want to talk about for this episode. But the reason I was able to speak with such clarity, such passion, is because that was a moment where I was like, man, shoot, like it was a lot of tension going on in that moment. But what I didn't allow that to do was affect me from going forward to still living my life. Because I understand I'm gonna get resistance from people all day. People gonna disagree with me. You know, now we got cancel culture. You know, people want to, you know, cancel you out and stuff like that. Hey, listen, I ain't gonna be bothered by none of that. Because people don't determine what's right and what's wrong. People can't determine, like, you know, my character and everything like that. That's what people do. People want to judge you all the time. People want to, you know, hold you hostage to your mistakes and what you say. And because it doesn't align with what they say, you know, obviously people gonna get butthurt. But you know what? Like I told you before, Psalms 139:14. So it said, 13 and 14 says, 14 says, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So I'm gonna live by that verse. And that's why I was still able to come on and do the show. I was still able to go out and live my life because I'm not gonna let some of that stuff affect me. Some of the times when people get resistance from other people, they let it affect them for the rest of their life. I don't do that. I use it, I take it as a lesson and I move forward. Sometimes you just gotta take things as a lesson, take things as it is and move forward. So I know a lot of people face resistance from others, but just know that your resistance is your greatest muscle builder. In order to build muscle, you got to have some resistance. If you don't have resistance, you ain't building muscle because then it's just too easy. So that's why, like I said, that's why I wanted to conclude at that point is that don't be afraid to use that resistance and be able to allow it to propel you forward. See, that all that stuff that I dealt with last night, all that was just energy. It was just fuel for me to be able to come on here and speak passionate. That's it.
That
That's it.
love that.
So like I said, I'm over that, but I'm glad that happened because it allowed me to be able to, learn some things, learn some more principles, and be able to and be able to speak about them on this podcast. So I use that pain, that tension that I had last night, put it into my purpose. Use your pain for your purpose. That's what I'm gonna conclude on right there. So anyway, man, that was a great show today. Had a great time, great conversation, spoke a lot about some great things. Hopefully y'all take this to heart. Hopefully y'all use this, apply it, and be able to help you make yourself better, man. Because that's all we're about, man. We're about self-improvement. We're trying to make y'all better, make y'all, try to live that healthy lifestyle. So that's what we're about, man. We're all about, taking care of mental health. So that's why we come on here and we speak passion about some of these things, because we want y'all to be able to really take care of your mental health, man. Mental health is important. So that's what we try to emphasize. But anyway, man, make sure you go follow Miss Sandra on Instagram at Sandy Yvette. So again, follow Sandra on Instagram at SandiVette. I'll also put it in the description as well. That way you can just go ahead and click on it. You'll have easy access to it. But also check me out on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. That's no spaces, no capitals. Once again, check me out on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. That's no spaces, no capitals, where you can get all the latest and greatest updates about what's going on with the show. Definitely go check out my book, Step Towards Your Purpose. All that stuff is in my bio under my link tree. Also got my connect call. So if you're still trying to connect, still trying to have a conversation, one-on-one conversation to get to know me, for me to get to know you, and also talk about some things that, is on your mind, I'm available for you. Sandra is also available. So definitely go hit her up on Instagram so we can be able to, be able to help y'all out in any way we can. So that's what we're about. But if nothing else, Sandra, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. This your boy, Chris Simmons. Oh, did you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good. Everything
Okay.
you said was right on point.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and do the closing. This your boy, Chris Simmons, alongside special guest, Sandra Cruz. We out, y'all. Take care, y'all. Have a great day. Peace.